Hey, hun buns, this is your girl, Miss Books to you. Today, coming to you with day 2 of my And So I Prayed challenge. Today's focus, it says day 2 is called feelings. So, the first thing I wanted to take note of, it says thoughts are the seeds that produce the fruit, which are actions. And what I think she means when she says this is there is power in your tongue. I tell this to my friend all the time. I have a best friend that is a boy, and he always speaks negative. And like, if you always, I know certain situations you feel like, okay, this is what's gonna happen. Okay, so you think and you feel negative about it, but I know sometimes that you get in funks, because I get in funks where it's a point where I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to text. I'll go to work. I'll come home. I get straight into bed. Everybody's saying, "Are you okay? Is there anything we get?" But it's just times where you get in your feelings, and it's not that time of the month. But it's just times where you get in your feelings and you are just stuck in that funk. Now you have to come up out of it. That is something that you have to do. My grandmother passed, which is one of the reasons why I started the journey. It I it's like a piece of me. At first I never understood what people meant when they said that a piece of them died when a person passed. But to have my grandmother for 95 years, like I'm 36. So I had her my entire life. No, I did not understand who she was when I was smaller, like a baby. But to have her and have all those moments, like I really feel like the longer that you have a person, it's like the more that they impact your life. I'm not going to cry. That's what I'm not going to do. So we're going to go past that. But I basically understood what she's saying is she's basically telling us that there's power in the tongue. So once you speak positivity into your life, things start to happen. It was a point where, like I said, I was down and things, it just seemed like everything bad was happening. But once I came out of that funk with the help of family and friends, things turned around. You always have to have a prayer partner, a prayer group. I have one of my old coworkers. We send each other text messages daily. If I don't send her one, she sends me one. Shout out to Kenyatta. Shout out to T. Shout out to my two Tashas. It's like a group of us and we support each other. Shout out to Diane. It's like a group of my friends that we may not speak to each other daily, and that's another thing. As adults, we have things that go on in our life. We have kids, we have husbands, boyfriends, girlfriends, wives. We have everything. So, you're not able to speak with someone, but a quick text is always best. So, be somebody's prayer partner. I always have that, like my auntie calls it, the prayer warriors. That's what she calls it. Tiora calls it a prayer warrior. So you always have to have prayer warriors that are in your side or on by your side. So when you do have those times, because my friend Diane, when I tell you if it's bad, she knows and she's like, "Oh, okay, Carla." And I do the same for her when it's bad. Okay, Diane, it's time to get from out of this. I can't tell you what I call her for real, but that's what we're going to just use her name for right now. So the second thing is that I highlighted was being angry and not sinning was hard. Being hurt but not taking, being hurt but not taking vengeance was hard. Being rejected and not retaliating was hard. And that's one of the things. They call me Medea because back in the day, if you got me, I was going to get you. So another thing is when I read the book, The Distance Between Me and God, that's a book that also helped me understand that all the time that you don't have to get people. I swear to you, no lie. Let's just say I'm in the car and I am Miss Road Rage. I'm trying to get better. But I'm just being honest right now, okay? In my future voice, I'm being honest. I have the worst road rage. So if you get in front of me, I am going to reciprocate and speed up and try to get back in front of you. But now I don't do it as much. So I didn't lie. I said as much. So I found that if I don't try to get back in front of that person, like later on down the road, somebody will do the same thing that they did to me. Now, I know you all may say, Carla, that is not God, but at that time, that's God for me, because they laugh at me because they say, look at God. And that's not God. That's just somebody getting them back. But I feel that's like, look at God. Okay, so the next thing that I read was, if you are disappointed with how your life has turned out, don't complain about your harvest. Check your seeds. You can't reap what you have not sown. I don't even think that requires explanation. It doesn't. It doesn't. Let's just move forward. So before long, when the enemy would speak to me in his negative tone, I would shoot him down immediately with God's promise. Now, I understood where she was coming from, but I'm going to tell you what I took from it. So, I do have a few people that are in my life that do vex me. Yes, they do. And I probably vex them as well in a different way, and I just not know it. But let's just talk about how they vex me. So, I feel like, and this got to the point with certain friends and certain family members, like if I know where you're coming from and I know that it's about to affect my peace, and I feel like you sent me a text message for a reaction, I just don't give it to them anymore. I don't entertain foolishness, and after so long, they just stop texting you, and you like, okay, so you get it now. You get it. Because I wasn't about to, I'm not about to let the devil use me in that way. So let's go to my journal. Like I said, I'm writing. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this? Okay. I write super uber big. So this is what I wrote. I understand firsthand what she was speaking of regarding feelings and how things can get twisted in our minds. My resolve was to hide as well. So in her day two, she basically stated that like she hid away from her feelings, and that's one thing that I'm trying to get better and be more transparent when it comes to, telling a person versus saying, if someone says, Carla, what, I'll say never mind in a minute. That's just me. Even let's just say we're having a conversation and we're talking and I don't feel like you're listening to me. If I feel like you're not listening to me, I just stop talking. And then, especially if it's repeating, y'all got to pray for me with that one because it's pretty bad. So I said that when you hide your feelings, well, I know for me, when I hide my feelings, I feel like I'm less likely to get hurt. But you're only hurting yourself. And I did read a tweet a while back that Joe Budden said that one thing about a person, when you try to block hurt, you often block love as well. So you don't want to block love, and unfortunately, you're going to get hurt, and that's with anybody. And I work with the Department of Children and Family Services, and I used to work with the abused and neglected kids. So without giving too much away, I used to talk to the kids because a lot of the kids basically don't have anyone to talk to and don't have anyone that actually listens to what their true needs are. So a lot of kids was basically saying that, they didn't get the attention like the young girls if they were promiscuous. It was basically like they weren't getting the attention at home that they were, or they felt like they should have been receiving, or they felt like their parents were doing something else and not focused on them. So I always told them, and truthfully, I'm sorry, I had to adjust. Truthfully, I don't know what's going on. Okay. Truthfully, it wasn't until, I'm going to say probably last year, where Iyanla Vanzant had a show. I can't remember what the show was. But she said when you forgive people, it's not for you. I'm sorry, it's not for them, it's for you. And I didn't understand. And I know one of her tasks was to write a letter to the person who hurt you and just explain everything. And even though, I mean, I love my dad to pieces, but it was some things that happened in the past that I really hadn't let go. And I said I let go, but I lied, but I really hadn't let go. And I will share one with you. So it was a few years ago that I wanted a car. So my dad has the best credit, like top notch credit. So I had a good job, but I was making the money, but I did not have the credit. So the man at the dealership, he was like, well, you would have to get somebody to co-sign for you. So I was like, okay. So I talked to my dad and I showed him, like, my dad is meticulous. So he said, Carla, I need to see bank statement. He wants to see bank statements. He is worse. Like, I think it's hard to get approval from John than it is to get approval from Chase. Okay. So he wanted to basically see everything. So I had to show him bank statements. I had to show him my bills, what I had, what money I would have left over. So he was like, okay, it looked like you can afford it. So just go to the dealership and pick out the car that you want. So I go to the dealership. I pick out the car. It's all black. It has spoilers. It has rim. The windows were tinted. Did it have a sunroof? I think it had a sunroof. So my dad, his credit is so good where he doesn't even have to come and sign for the car. Like, they will just allow him to take the car. He's done it before. Okay. So I go to the dealership, me and my sister. He tells my sister, okay, go with Carla. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm telling. That's another thing. Don't tell anybody what you're getting until you actually have it, okay? So I told everybody, oh, I'm about to go get my car. No bueno. John was with the shenanigans that day. So you know what I did? I ended up going to the dealership, and I got to the dealership, and my father called. So I was like, Dad, where are you at? And he was like, oh, I'm not coming. When you get your credit score up, now see what I was telling you about when you were in, did he say, when you were in high school, not to mess up your credit when you went to college and da 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 da. And at this point, this is the conversation that he's having with me at the dealership. So I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for him to say, okay, Carla, and because I'm the baby, and a lot of the times I got what I wanted. This was not one of those times. So he basically told me, no, I'm not signing for it. You gonna get it how you want to. When you have bad credit, you have to suffer. So he made me suffer. So at the age of 30 plus, I still was harboring. Yes, I know you all may think that that's nothing. Like, and I do understand that in speaking with kids that have been abused and neglected, that's the least of their worries, that their dad doesn't co-sign for them. But that was heartache for me when I knew that I could afford the car and that was something I wanted, and I felt like he told me that just to basically hurt my feelings. So I wrote a letter, and I thanked him, because as far as the way I was raised, I was 16 with a brand new Mustang. Like, I had a very privileged life, and I feel like my life is still rich. Do I have everything that I want? No. Am I going to get it? Absolutely. But it's baby steps. And no, I'm not going to acquire stuff like my parents did, because it was, we all have to take our own steps toward what we need, and we have to stop looking at other people's lives and trying to mirror them and say, well, this person is this age and they have this and I'm this age and I don't have it. You have to be, while you're in, like we're talking about feelings, you have to get out of those feelings and focus on you, because while you're focusing on somebody else, I guarantee you if you talk to them, they will not focus on anybody. And most of the time, if you do focus on somebody else and trying to achieve things for somebody else, or because you see someone else have it, 9 times out of 10 you will lose it because you don't appreciate it. So truthfully, I'm not going to lie to you. When I finally got my car, I appreciate my car. My new car that I have now, I appreciate the car because I had to go through trials. Like my car, I had my car for 10 years, but my car died, like deceased. Dead. Dead. But it was time for me to let that go, and I tried to hold on for dear life. But you just have to let go at times. So I said all of that to say we have to get out of our feelings, and our parents do things to the best of their ability. And like I told the kids, your parents, they didn't have the best upbringing, so they basically did the best. Someone that loves you will hurt you, i.e. my father, i.e. my mother, i.e. my sister. I mean, the kids, babe, whoever, everybody in your life is going to hurt you at some point in time. I don't know who came up with the saying that if somebody loves you, they won't hurt you. No, because you hurt people unintentionally. It could be something that you said, but in the end, you have to forgive. So for day 2, the feelings part, more so, I understood what forgiveness was, and I'm trying to get better. Am I the best? No, but I am much better, because I used to be the type of person where when you crossed and hurt my feelings, it was going to be hell to pay, and I was going to get you back. But now I distance myself, and I do ask and pray to God and ask him, God, is this somebody that I need to keep in my life? So this is the end of day 2, and I do hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe down below. And I appreciate everyone's support. You all have a great night.